Okay, so let's take a look at normal distribution and a few of the problems. So first of all, I'm looking over here at a problem that we needed to look at, and basically it says what mass score is 1.5 standard deviations above the mean, round to a whole number. Make sure you round properly. Make sure you read it. It says to the whole number, so if the answer is 692.5, you look at the last decimal. If it's 5 or larger, you round the number up in front of it. So that becomes 693 should be the answer. So that's not a normal distribution problem. That's just a rounding error. No problem there. So let's look at another scenario. The length of time it takes to find a parking space at 9 a.m. follows a normal distribution with a mean of 6 minutes and a population standard deviation of 2. Okay, so you need those two things when we're working in Minitab, because it tells us, well, three things really, that it's a normal distribution, the mean is 6 minutes, and the standard deviation is 2 minutes. That kind of tells us how far out from the average of 6 minutes that our normal distribution will spread. So if we're doing this problem, we're going to first go to Minitab. So go to app.minitab.com, and for normal distribution, it's under graph because we always want to look at the graph, and go down to probability distribution plot. Once you're there, you're always going to click on view probability. Okay, so now that I'm there, again, it says that the mean is 6 minutes. We have normal distribution, so we don't change that, and the standard deviation is 2 minutes. Then you're going to click options, and depending on what our question asks, this is what we will either do. We'll either click on a specified probability, or if they give us, so if they give us a probability, which will be a decimal number, or if they give us a percentage, then we choose a specified probability. If they give us a specific value, then we're going to choose X value. So let's read the first question. Find the probability that it took less than 1 minute. So find the probability, and they're giving us less than 1 minute. So we are given a specified X value, and we are trying to find the probability. So that's why we're clicking on the specified X value. Less than 1 minute. So you can look here and see that that's going to be a left-tailed normal distribution because that shows less than our X value. And our X value here is 1 minute. So we're going to put in 1 and click OK and click OK. When you do that, we are going to be able to read everything we need to read from our chart. Okay, so it's very important that you can read the normal distribution. We see the normal distribution, we see our mean of X, and across the bottom are our X values. And remember, our X value here was 1. So across the bottom are your X values. The decimal numbers that you see that will show up in Minitab on the normal curve is your probability, because remember, probability is a decimal number. So our answer here is 0.006210. Then I'm going to always go and see how many decimal places we want. We want 4 decimal places. So since the fifth decimal place is 1, that means we don't change the 2 at all. So our answer is 0.0062 or 0.0062. So that's awesome there. Okay, that was fine. However, let's look at 7 and 8 because these two are a little bit different. This one gives us 30% of the time. That means 30%, if you'll recall, is the same as the decimal 0.30. So basically, they've given us a decimal. They've given us a probability, not an X value. Okay, so when I come over here, I'm going to go graph. I can get it to work here. Graph, probability distribution plot. View probability again. So that none of that changes. And neither do our scenarios the same. 6 minutes is our mean, standard deviation of 2 minutes. But when you click options, I'm not given an X value here. I'm given 30%, and 30% is a probability expressed as 0.30. So that's why you have to do that there. How long does it find, 30% of the time, how long does it take to find a parking space? Okay, we're going to round our decimal to 2 places. An answer that was given was 2.24, which was incorrect. So let's see why. We can do, we want to know 30% of the time. So from 0 to 30% of the time. So I'm going to choose left tail here and click OK. And click OK again. And we'll make sure our graph looks right up to 30% of the time. Here's the 30% of the time. And our X value that matches up with 30% of the time is 4.951. So we get 4.951 is what we get on Minitab, but it says to 2 decimal places. So I look at the 1 and it doesn't round the 5 at all. So 4.95 is our correct answer. And then this last one, 60% of the time, it takes more than how many minutes? So 60% of the time is my clue there. 60% is the same as 0.60, which means they haven't given us an X value this time. They've given us a probability. So we want to make 0.6 to show up here. It takes more than how many minutes? More than means I'm going to want the red to be on the right side of my graph. So let's see if we can do that. So we go to graph. Probability distribution plot, view probability. Okay, same scenarios. So we're going to click on options and we're given a probability of 60% or 0.60. It takes more than how many minutes? So this time we want to click on right tail because we want the more than. Less than, more than, in between would be the middle. You hardly ever use equal tails. And click OK and OK, and let's look at the graph we get. Let's see if I can copy this. I don't know if I can. Should be able to, but no. It usually will let me just copy graph. Okay. Let's see if okay. Well, it's not going to let me. But again, I want to make sure that we look at this and make sure that you understand how to read this, because your test questions will mostly give you the graphs and you have to interpret them because you cannot use Minitab on your upcoming test. So if I'm looking at this graph and I want to understand what it means, it has my average of 6 minutes to find a parking space. Okay. They told us that it was 60%, so it more than 60%, or it said 60% of the time, but it did say more than in our problem. So we want to know what is the amount of minutes that it takes more than 60% of the time to find a parking spot. So again, probability is always going to be up here on the curve and represented by the red. And your X value, or whatever you're looking for, in this case, it is the number of minutes it takes to find a parking space. It's 5.493. Again, make sure that you read it properly, the graph. So I hope that helps. Thank you for reaching out.